52,560,000 minutes, 876,000 hours, 36,500 days, or 100 years, however you want to say it. That is how long it has been since the birth of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Every summer, for a couple short months, the NCAA's best come together to compete in the nation's premier summer collegiate baseball league for a chance to etch themselves into the history books. Over 1,400 of those same men would go on to have a chance to pursue their dreams in the major leagues. After all, the Cape League is where the stars of tomorrow shine tonight. And is there a better way to kick off the centennial season than at White House Field? I don't think so. Tonight, the Harwich Mariners begin their quest for their 6th championship against the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. Two of the league's most storied skippers square off on opening day in Steve Englert and Scott Pickler. These proximate rivals always seem to put on a show for the Cape faithful, and today will not be an exception by any means. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Devin Dobeck, and I'm absolutely stoked to spend another summer with you here in Al Graber Press Box. I'm also very excited to introduce my new broadcast partner, Wyatt Kopelman. Wyatt just finished up a grad year at the University of Miami, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have him here in Harwich. Welcome aboard, Wyatt.
Devin, brings me a great pleasure to be here, especially for another Harwich Mariners season, a team looking to rise in the standings of the Cape Cod East Division, but also considering that Steve Englert nearing 400 wins as well among the 100 years of Cape Cod baseball here in Massachusetts.
It will be a great summer for sure, and we will be the two voices behind your beloved Mariners all season long on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Thanks for tuning in. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Getting the opening day nod for the M's is going to be the Old Dominion righty, Sam Armstrong. This past season, he went 9-4 with a 3.51 ERA across his 15 starts for the Monarchs. He will battle with YD's Kai Stephen of Purdue. He finished with a team-high 7 wins for the Boilermakers while posting a 5.21 ERA in 14 starts. Now, Wyatt, before we get rocking and rolling here, how would you like to see Harwich come out of the gate, and what will be your key to the game for this team who is still getting to know each other?
Well, as you mentioned, guys getting to know each other. You don't really know what you're working with in some of the infield positions. You had a lot of highly touted collegiate baseball talent, not to mention Virginia having some talent that's set to come here to Harwich this summer. That's still facing Duke in the Super Regional right now, so we'll see how it looks here in the early goings. You take a look at Kalen Culpepper getting the starting nod at shortstop today, and you have some interesting mixes in the outfield as well, not to mention a back pitching staff with a returner in Joe Savino of Elon as well.
Let's meet the YD Red Sox batting order. Leading off will be the right fielder, Nathan Archer. Batting second, the second baseman, Brady Day. Batting third, the first baseman, Jacob Christian. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Hunter Hines. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Enzo Apodaca. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Max Vieira. Batting seventh, the left fielder, Jimmy Evans. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Mitch Voigt. And batting ninth, the catcher, John Pappas. And we're underway here with a ball delivered from Sam Armstrong. That's the first pitch of the Mariners season. The 1-0. That one misses just off to make it 2-0. Archer leading things off for the Red Sox here. 6'0", 175, attends Bowling Green as quickly as a 3-0 count. And something that a lot of these hitters have to figure out, Wyatt, early on is these wood bats, a big change from the metal that we've seen them use in college and been successful with. So making that adjustment is critical as the 3-0 drops in there for a strike.
Yeah, you're taught to pitch low first and foremost when you're being developed as a pitcher going into your high school days. We'll see what Armstrong answers with here.
3-1 offering. That one is in there to load up the count full. And yeah, we saw it last season a little bit with Kyle Teal, who's almost a surefire top 10 pick in this year's MLB draft. He hit close to 400 for the Virginia Cavaliers last year, went to Team USA, but then he hit 100 for the Mariners. 3-2 payoff pitch is in there. So says the home plate umpire in James Fonseca. And all the way back from down 3-0, Armstrong gets the punch out.
Convincing way to start the game here for Armstrong, the rising senior at Old Dominion. He had the most strikeouts in innings pitched for the Monarchs this past season, picking up right where he left off.
So it's a backwards K to get things going here and brings up Brady Day, second baseman for the Red Sox. And the pitch misses up and away. 1-0. Mariners in their home cream uniforms with new red hats and the Mariner Trident logo on them. Mariners in navy across the chest, trimmed in red with blue socks. As the YD Red Sox wearing their red road jerseys that say YD in navy on the front with white pants and blue caps. Here comes Armstrong's 1-0. Misses just outside to make it 2-0. And along with James Fonseca, the umpiring crew will be complete with Chris Scott at first base and Mickey Garcia over at third. 2-1. Misses just outside, 3-1. And for Brady Day, coming in from Kansas State, his teammate, Kalen Culpepper, actually the shortstop. So nice to play against some of your teammates. One of the great things about summer collegiate baseball. As that one's fouled off, and the count is loaded up again full.
Tough couple of hitters thus far for Yarmouth Dennis. Forcing 3-ball pitches here.
As stepping out to take him in is Brady Day. He hit .356 in his 56 starts with the Wildcats. He was sensational for them, and trying to translate that success now into the Cape League. 3-2 pitch. That is going to be flipped off to the left and just out of play, so we'll do it again. Armstrong comes set, and the offering. That one misses away, and finally the Red Sox have their first base runner after all those pitches.
Just lost him that time. If you're Armstrong, knowing you got to go one batter at a time here, now working out of the stretch for the first time today, considering how much of an agenda each of these guys have to develop themselves, that's a really good plate appearance to have if you're Brady Day, someone coming out of Kansas State as well, similar to Kalen Culpepper.
First pitch to Christian misses, and it's 1-0. Armstrong trying to find his rhythm here, but really has had trouble with his control. He was able to battle back against Archer for the strikeout, but now finding himself falling behind in counts once again on the ensuing batters. Big swing and a miss on the changeup, and it'll be even at 1-1.
It's been a money pitch of his here in the early goings of this one. So he'll have to get 2 outs on the board here, trying for a ground ball double play. He's forced some fly ball contact thus far in foul territory.
Christian attends Point Loma Nazarene, where he hit .408 last season. 25 multi-hit games. He was great. Another guy who really going to have to start to adjust to that wood bat, and he could be a real force to reckon with the rest of the way. That one misses low and away, and it'll be 2-1. A big batter in that right-handed batter's box. 6'4", 225 pounds. You do not want to leave anything in his wheelhouse. He will make you pay. Pac West Freshman of the Year honors also back in 2022. A pickoff attempt almost was able to catch Day leaning, but he got back in there and throw a little high from Armstrong. Meet the Mariner defense momentarily. 2-1 pitch. That one fouled off, and it's 2-2. Out in the outfield for the Mariners, Ryan Wilson going to be in left with Jacob Humphrey in center and Matt Scannell in right. Kenny Lavari, former Mariner, back in the cream once again. He's at third base. Kalen Culpepper's at short. Ali Camarillo's at second. Hunter Fitzgerald's at first with Jackson Horning behind the plate, completing the battery with Sam Armstrong. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Players also going to have to adjust to the pitch clock. I don't believe there's a visual one, but the umpire in Fonseca is going to be keeping it. As there goes the base runner, and it's fouled off. So we'll have to reset and do the 2-2 again. But Wyatt, when you think about not being able to see the pitch clock, let alone the pressure that's put on you by having it, it's got to be a different dynamic for these players in this summer collegiate league.
And I think also you want to feel a sense of leisure as well. If you're someone like Armstrong already working out the stretch, you want to be able to ease into these deep counts here as he already faces 2-2.
Yeah, his pitch count getting up there. Our point streak is down currently, so we will start to get you the pitch count numbers when we can, but hectic opening day as there was already a rain out. As 2-2 once again fouled off, so staying alive, but yeah, it was Chatham and Katuitt who got rained out over at Lowell Park in Katuitt, so that weather looks like it's going to miss us here, which is the good news, but it stinks when you have to push back your opening day after being so excited and looking forward to it, especially for all the interns, all the players, coaches, and fans. 2-2. Misses up and in, and it'll be 3-2.
Try to go with the elevated fastball that time. He's had the changeup working well for him. Expecting maybe see a changeup blown away if not for a slider.
This will be the third payoff pitch of the inning. And it's fouled off. Really nice at bat this time from Jacob Christian, making Armstrong work. And against these guys who are already on a short lease, being this summer baseball, if you can get their pitch count higher and higher, then you dig into the other team's bullpen much quicker, and then the run support will come. So really nice half inning thus far by the YD Red Sox. We'll see if they're able to contribute anything else to it. 3-2. That is just inside, so says Fonseca, and it's back-to-back walks that put 2 Red Sox on for the cleanup hitter in Hunter Hines.
It's a tough break there for Armstrong. Seems to be painting the zone well with the fastball in that time. Just didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, really good plate discipline by Brady Day and Jacob Christian set up the cleanup hitter really nicely in Hunter Hines.
Hunter Hines climbs into that left-handed batter's box from Mississippi State. So another powerhouse school in the SEC. He was first team All-SEC. Hit .297, but tallied 61 runs batted in. A phenomenal stat for him. Count is 0-1 here. As Armstrong finally able to get ahead of the hitter. And the pitch. That one down in the dirt. The runners stay put. Really nice stop behind the plate by Horning. And it'll be 1-1. Days over at second. Christian at first. When strikeout, walk, walk here to start things. See what the cleanup hitter can do. 1-1. A really nice slider is able to find that outside corner, and it's 1-2. Still no balls put in play yet. A lot of fans can't wait to hear that crack of the bat that you get with summer baseball here on the Cape. And the 1-2 offering just misses up and away. And Armstrong really having to work. But credit to these hitters for being patient, waiting for their pitch, and making Armstrong come to them.
It's what you're going to get out of first-team All-SEC honoree and Hunter Hines as well. Only a sophomore at M-State.
Here's the 2-2. Just misses on the outside corner. Horning tried to frame it, dropped it in the process. So, would you believe it if I told you there was another full count? 4 straight.
It's only the first day. Not like you're rushing to get out of here. As
No,
you said,
we are not.
waiting for that crack of the bat.
Yeah. Another payoff. That is foul tipped off of Horning's glove. Could not squeeze it. That would have been huge. And now Armstrong going to be forced to throw a few more pitches. Teams both all up on the dugout. Fence, that is. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away. Here comes the pitch from Armstrong. Fouled off again. Really defensive swings from the Red Sox, making Armstrong pitch to them. And we'll see how much longer he's going to be able to last. I mean, this is really early on in the game, but they are working him. Two on, 1 away. And the 3-2 pitch. That is going to be popped up, back behind the plate. Horning trying to give it a bid, but it's going to fall right here on Al Graber press box. And we will do it once more.
It's a very long season here, only 2 months on this summer collegiate season, but you consider the spots that you have to face. If you're someone like Armstrong, tall right-hander, already out of the stretch here. This is what it takes to be able to get past that first round for what they familiarized with themselves last season.
3-2, swing and a miss. Armstrong wins the battle, and there's 2 away. And that is just remarkable for him to be able to get out of that jam. 3 straight fouls on payoff pitches, and you continue to give him everything you got and get your control down. So that will be 2 away. Enzo Apodaca will climb in, batting 5th for the Red Sox. 2 on, 2 away. We'll see if he's able to get the Sox on the board first. Misses up and away for a ball. These teams were dead even last season. 2 wins aside and then a pair of ties. Of course, the roster is vastly different, but still cool to compare them as that's how the fans see it. 1-0 pitch. Makes it 2-0. That one up at the letters. Close call there. And so it'll be 2 balls, no strikes with 2 away.
So much pressure on opening night of any Cape Cod season, but of course it being the 100th year as well, Harwich Mariners looking to establish some longevity.
That one fouled off, and Armstrong works. It's a 2-1.
And it's really hard because you've gotten that foul ball contact through the air, but you're just looking for it to go straight into play on the ground, get that inning-ending double play. But now with there being 2 away, you're looking to potentially strike out the side as well.
And a tough customer in Apodaca. He had 23 walks last season for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, so a patient hitter. And against a guy struggling with control, you're really going to have to sit on one and wait your turn. 3-1 is the count. And we'll see what Apodaca can do here now. On deck is Max Vieira, the shortstop, should we get there. The pitch on the outside corner. And that will be our 5th full count of the inning, and we are 5 batters in. The crowd trying to get behind their starter in Armstrong right now. Runners will be going on the pitch. Here it is. On the outside corner, strike 3. Armstrong strikes out the side despite 2 walks and a plethora of pitches. Had to be close between 25 and 30 there, but the side is retired. So we'll take a break and meet the Mariners batting order when we return. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. Devin Dobeck, Wyatt Kopelman along with you here in Al Graber Press Box at White House Field. A beautiful night we have on our hands in the low 60s. And just a perfect night for opening day, unless you ask someone from Cotuit, as they, of course, have a rain out. But let's meet the Mariners' batting order here. Leading off is the center fielder, Jacob Humphrey, batting second. At second base is Ali Camarillo. Batting third, the shortstop, Kalen Culpepper. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, Kennedy Jones. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Hunter Fitzgerald. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Matt Scannell. Batting 7th, the catcher, Jackson Horning. Batting 8th, the third baseman, Kenny Lavari. And batting 9th, rounding out the order, is the left fielder in Ryan Wilson. Cal Steffen will climb onto the hill for the YD Red Sox to face Jacob Humphrey, the UMass Lowell Riverhawk, who had a phenomenal season for them. We'll get a little bit more on that in just a few moments. First pitch to him is going to miss for a ball. Humphrey, a native of Standish, Maine, so not too far from the Cape, and of course goes to school rather local in Lowell as 1-1 count. He hit .317 this past season, had a .944 OPS. As he flies that one up into center field, going back is Apodaca. He's having some trouble tracking it, but he hauls it in for out number 1. Just a little under that, and a loud fly ball out for out number 1.
Humphrey trying to set the tone with a huge hit into the alley. That time just went to straightaway center. It didn't waste any time letting pitches go by him. Nonetheless, one away already here for Stefan.
Camarillo from CSU Northbridge. He hit .371 this past season. His OPS was 1.032. So a member of a small school, but he's got that chip on his shoulder. Really excited to see what he can do. It's a 1-0 count to him as Steffen kicks and delivers. That one fouled, and it's 1-1. The Red Sox defense looks like this. Jimmy Evans out in left field. Enzo Apodaca in center. Nathan Archer's in right. Mitch Voigt's at third. Max Vieira's the shortstop. Brady Day at second. Jacob Christian at first, with John Pappas doing the catching for Steffen. Camarillo awaits the 1-1, and he rips it down the left field line. Fair! It's going to run all the way into the corner wall. He rounds first, heads into second standing, and that will be the first Mariners hit to get things started here in the first. Beautiful double down the line, and with 1 out, not much more you can ask for heading into the heart of the order.
And especially to force Cal Steffen out of the stretch earlier, that's huge for this Harwich lineup. One of his main weaknesses at Purdue this season, gave up 26 extra base hits aside from having a respectable opponent batting average and was high on strikeouts as well. Now have to face a man in scoring position with Kalen Culpepper coming up for the first time.
Culpepper playing shortstop, as we mentioned, but really a utility guy, can do just about anything. A tremendous athlete coming out of Kansas State. Here's the first pitch to him. Breaking ball is in there for a strike. Came in perfectly, although the catcher seemed to grab it a little low in Pappas. Culpepper's got some serious pop. 10 homers for the Wildcats last season. Had a .999 OPS. A really good mark for him in his second year. 0-1 is going to be flared just into shallow left and hauled in by Vieira for out number 2. Culpepper just got jammed a little bit and couldn't get much on it. And it will be 2 away for Kennedy Jones.
Harwich being one of the top RBI producing teams in the league last season. We were talking about it a little bit before here today, and this is a huge spot already for Harwich just to be able to build a couple of runs. You want to get at least 1 or 2 going to the middle innings, and Harwich was so dominant when holding a lead after 6 innings last year as well.
It's all going to come with that pitching, and of course when you're waiting on all these players to return from the College World Series and the playoffs, it can be detrimental. As Kennedy Jones watches a pitch go by for a ball. Jones waggling his bat, touches the dirt, and gets set. Steffen trying to get out of his own jam in the same way Armstrong did back in the first. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, but the ball gets away, and down to third goes Camarillo. So a free 90 feet awarded on the big swing and a miss. You'll take it if you're the Mariners, that much easier. But the count 1-1 now to Jones.
And this is a point in the game already where you had your starting pitcher in Armstrong dealing nearly 30 pitches in that first inning. You want to be able to at least reward him for striking out the side, put on a run early here after getting that shallow double earlier on.
1 ball and 1 strike to the UNC Greensboro product. Here it is. And he's going to line that down the line and foul. Just missed. The fans were really excited, but unfortunately he's going to come back and do it again. Jones hit 367 for the Spartans at UNC Greensboro. And, of course, a familiar dominant Mariners hitter attended UNC Greensboro. That is in the past Press Kavanaugh, now a member of the Cleveland Guardians organization. But Press, of course, 2 years ago for the Mariners was second in the batting race in the entire league. Returned last year, played a little bit before signing along, and now he's playing low-A ball with the Guardians. But Kavanaugh, a tremendous athlete. See if Jones can provide the same thing. Big swing and a miss, and Steffen wins the battle. So despite a 1-out double, the Mariners can't cash in. Zeros as we head to inning number 2. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back as Mariners take the field once again as we're about to kick off the second. But Wyatt, of course, you attended the University of Miami, a prestigious baseball school, although they haven't been performing that way in the last few years. No ricochet shots fired at your fellow partner in Cal Friedman from Miami, who's tuned in, as well as yourself. But coming from that school, what does it mean to be in the college playoffs? And, of course, we got a lot of history in the making, as we saw yesterday, and now some scores going on now.
I mean, you consider Miami in not only the throne of ACC play for particular seasons, didn't get to the top place in the Coastal Division this season.
As first pitch is going to be grounded on one hop over to Camarillo. He fires on to first, score that one 4-3, and there's one away here. A much quicker start to the second than the first for Armstrong. But continue on, Wyatt, please.
Well, to consider the royalty in the ACC right now, I mean, you have a super regional matchup going on between Virginia and Duke, and it was an eventful hitting afternoon for Virginia this afternoon, and for Duke, meanwhile, was able to walk away with a victory on the field of Virginia last night.
So it'll be Jimmy Evans climbing in for the Sox as he watches a strike go by to make it 0-1.
And so you consider a little bit of a changing of the times as well in the ACC.
As another pitch drops in there for strike 2, and finally Armstrong ahead of batters.
But the considered success of Miami, the ultimate success historically, goes long beyond the ACC. Never concerned to win the ACC tournament every year.
As this one going to be grounded on a hop over to Culpepper, makes an off-balance throw, the stretch. Yes, they got him. A beautiful play by Culpepper, showing off his athleticism, and he guns down Evans. That will be first 2 up, first 2 down to bring us to Mitch Voigt.
Priority has been for Miami just to get back to Nebraska for the College World Series in Omaha, and 4 straight regionals now for Miami, not one.
As first pitch drops in there on the inside corner for a strike.
It's an invaluable accomplishment for Miami to get back to the College World Series, and now has missed 7 straight years.
0-1 pitch, misses up high to make it 1-1. Mitch Voigt, of course, a Michigan Wolverine. Hails from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. 1-1 pitch. Right in there, down Broadway to make it 1-2. Voigt hit .267 this past season. 32 runs batted in across his 54 games, an all-right mark as he takes a defensive swing to keep the count at 1-2 and stay alive. Did have 17 extra base hits, though, as well as 18 walks. So finding ways to get on base in a diverse way, as once again it'll be a 1-2 count. Armstrong trying to make quick work of the Red Sox here in inning number 2. And we'll keep an eye and see if there's any pitch clock violations. According to what we overheard, the umpires, these two teams scrimmaged a couple days ago. As the 1-2 is fouled back again. These two teams scrimmaged a couple days ago, and the umpires completely have full knowledge of the pitch clock, and they were saying that they would have called a few more violations had that been a real game, but trying to get the players to just settle in. As 1-2. That one was barely a swing, but it caught the bat of Mitch Voigt, and so we'll stay at 1-2.
Kind of obscure occurrence there. Didn't even really go for a check swing.
Another 1-2. It's going to be chopped foul over towards the Mariner dugout, and we'll stay there. I'll tell you what, these YD hitters have been very defensive when there's 2 strikes on them. Armstrong really having to keep coming to get them to swing. So far does have the 3 strikeouts, though. The pitch. That one misses up and in, and deuces are wild now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Two. Foul tipped into the catcher's mitt, and that's another strikeout for Sam Armstrong. He's through 2 full and has not allowed a hit. Mariners coming back up for second licks here on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Five, six, 7 due up for the Mariners. It'll be Fitzgerald, Scannell, and Horning. As we apologize, it's Cal Steven on the mound. Not like Stephen Curry, like Steven. As first pitch from Steven is in there for a strike. And it's 0-1. Fitzgerald, another old Dominion product, just like Armstrong, the pitcher for the M's, as it's 1-1 to him. Fitzgerald actually attended Stoneman Douglas High School and a native of Margate, Florida. So that pitch is bounced, and it's 2-1. This past season for the Monarchs, he hit .316 with a .403 on-base percentage. He's adding the count 2-1 as the pitch from Steven. That one is going to be laced into the gap in right center field, and not able to get there is Archer. Rounding first, heading into second is going to be Fitzgerald, and he will be held up there with a stand-up double to start things in inning number 2.
Great start to his 2023 season here in Harwich. Another veteran from Old Dominion, similar to Sam Armstrong. Started on the mound for Harwich tonight. He hit .316 with 22 home runs. Wasn't too shy of sending it over the fence there. Relatively deep ballpark with it being 400 to straightaway center and 330 down the lines.
Really got to get a hold of it with those wood bats as well. As Matt Scannell will climb in. Rising senior at Princeton University. And here comes the first pitch to Scannell. This is up to make it 1-0. Runner on second is Fitzgerald, trying to get the Mariners on the board first. So here comes the pitch. This is upstairs once again, 2-0. 903 OPS for Scannell this past season. He's also second team All-Ivy in his sophomore season. As here comes the 2-0 pitch. That one dropped in there for a strike. Really nice cut fastball from Steven, and it'll be 2-1. Of course, one of the unfortunate things for those Princeton Tigers is that their freshman year canceled, or at least in Scannell's case, due to COVID-19. That pitch misses away, make it 3-1.
You can tell Steven was frustrated with that one, just didn't really get it on the lower half of the zone. Still working out the stretch here, similar to what he faced back in the first inning. And now to work out a 3-ball pitch.
Scannell trying to make Steven work. Put the Mariners in a good spot for the bottom of the order. That one misses inside, and it'll be a 5-pitch walk to put runners on first and second for Jackson Horning.
The catcher from Skidmore College, number 29.
This is an ideal spot to be stepping into here if you're Jackson Hornig, the Skidmore College graduate and actually the back-to-back Liberty League Player of the Year as well. First team honoree. Something highly desirable, so he looks for redemption here.
Horning also a Westfield Starfire. Pretty cool story I learned about him, which we'll share in a second. First pitch. That one is going to be flipped into right field for a base hit. Going is Archer. He's going to have to go all the way to the wall. Coming in to score easily is Fitzgerald. Scannell right behind him, and he's in there. And with a sliding triple, there's Jackson Horning. His first hit in the Cape League is a bases clearing triple, and the Mariners strike first. It's 2-0.
It was a huge year for him over at Skidmore, and right now leading off with a triple to start his season. Can't really ask for much better than that to get to Steven, who is already seeing his pitch count ascend here.
And a D3 guy who's able to do it so well at such a level. Hit .424 this past season and really making his mark here. Of course, Ryan McCarty, the D3 phenom for the Mariners last year, now in the Blue Jays organization. He went to Penn State Abington, if I'm not mistaken. Hit over 500 for them. It's a ball and no strikes, and that will bring out the pitching coach for the Sox. But back to Horning. So he played for the Westfield Starfires. I guess he got hurt towards the end of that season because I did some public address for the Starfires a couple weeks ago. And anyways, so I learned that the bases were loaded. It was a playoff game. They were down a few runs, and it's my understanding that Horning was hurt. In street clothes in the dugout. All of a sudden he leaves, comes back dressed, hits a bases clearing double while injured, and his team went on to win. So pretty cool story, and just tells you about the grit that that guy brings each and every day to the ballpark, and the Mariners are for sure going to be lucky to have him. It's Kenny Lavari, third baseman for the Mariners. Climbs in. And the count will resume at 1-0. Lavari flies it into shallow left field, waiting for the tag, and an awkward collision out there will bring in the run from Horning, as down over to second goes Lavari. And yeah, a couple Red Sox collide. Everybody seems to be okay, but of course, not knowing your teammates and not having that chemistry yet, really detrimental, and it gives the Mariners a run to make it 3-0 and another runner in scoring position.
Certainly not the miscommunication you want to have on any day of the season, but you look at it, first day of the season, guys still trying to work in with one another at particular sides of the defensive alignment. A lot of these guys tend to shift positions across summer collegiate baseball as well.
Ball and no strike now to Ryan Wilson, the left fielder, and he's going to strike that one into center field. A long run, and dropping the ball is Apodaca. Unable to haul it in, is down over to second. Goes Wilson, and Lavari into third. That will be an error on the center fielder. And the Mariners capitalizing on a few blunders by the Red Sox.
Center fielder from UMass.
Well, you get a 2-run triple out of Jackson Horning, the Skidmore graduate. He proves himself, and then you get back-to-back errors as well. It has to be a bit disheartening here for Steven, trying to work hard on the mound, still with no outs on the board.
Yeah, still no outs indeed, and the Mariners out to a very quick 3-0 lead. As Humphrey climbs back in for his second at-bat. He already flew out to center field. Fouls that one off, and it'll be 0-1. So the Mariners able to flip the lineup card pretty easily here in inning number 2, and we'll see if that can continue throughout the ball game, but definitely some good signs despite the YD blunders. Here comes the 0-1. Humphrey leaves that up, and it'll be a 1-1. Lavari's at third, Wilson's at second. Trying to knock them in is Humphrey. That one misses down low to make it 2-1. Humphrey, American East Conference record, 46 stolen bases in his freshman year. Guy who's really quick if they can get him on the base paths. So he rips that one left and over the crowd, who has really showed out here tonight at White House Field. Bleachers are full and people overflowing onto the hill so they can watch the game. People lined all throughout the outfield as well, looking through the fence. Great night for baseball here in Harwich. 2-2. Bounced in the dirt. Stopping it is Pappas, and it will be a full count.
Might be a shorter start than expected here for Steven, similar to Armstrong, what he faced back in the first. Now over 30 pitches. It looks like it has warm-up going for Yarmouth Dennis down the right side.
3-2 pitch. That is going to be grounded over to third base. Runners have to hold, and Voigt flips it over to first just in time. Got to be careful with the speedy Humphrey, and beats him by half a step to give the Red Sox a much-needed first out.
Looks like it's Jason Doktorczyk, Seal Beach, California native of Nevada, warming up for Yarmouth Dennis. But you keep the bases with 2 here, and you get a fly out that makes it a little bit more interesting here to see what Harwich is able to scratch across here in the second.
Ali Camarillo climbs back in. He doubled back at the first inning. Would love another hit here. The pitch. Fouls it off, and it'll be 0-1. Fitzgerald led off the inning with a double. Then Scannell was able to walk. Jackson Horning with a bases clearing triple made it 2-0. He would go on to score after Kenny Lavari was able to reach on, I guess we're scoring at a hit. And then Ryan Wilson reached on an error. He stands at second. Humphrey grounded out, and now we're to Camarillo once again. Be a ball and a strike now. Camarillo, Cal State Northbridge product. Trying to show out in front of a bunch of MLB scouts who've showed up here today. Trying to cement himself in Coach Englert's starting lineup. And for all these guys, including the Temps, this has got to be a big moment before the guys get back from the playoffs so that they can really make their case to stay and keep a roster spot. Camarillo, not one of those Temps, but making a great first impression regardless. Big swing and miss there, makes it 2-2.
You consider that you have 2 weeks approximately before College World Series really starts to draw to a close. A lot of guys begin going from their collegiate programs out to their summer league, particularly Cape Cod as well. It almost goes by in his flash as well with how many games start flying off the board.
Here comes the 2-2. Leaves it up, and it'll be 3-2. Culpepper waits on deck. He lined out to the shortstop Vieira back in inning number 1. Steven comes set. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Camarillo caught swing, and that will be out number 2.
That time, Steven going with the fastball low, got a strikeout swing and a close out the first, but now you're looking for either a strikeout, the pitch count is climbing, but you've had that low fastball working relatively well. Didn't get a slider to break in on that prior pitch, but if you get a ground ball as well, that's a serious help as well with the infield playing now on a shift to the left side.
Culpepper climbs back in, runners on second and third in Wilson and Lavari. First pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, and if you're Harwich, you're of course very happy with the 3-run lead you have, but you had second and third, nobody gone down, and then grounded out to third, couldn't get the runner home, and then a strikeout with the 2 guys at the top of your order, so really want to try and make sure you can capitalize. Culpepper the guy to do it, as that one's bounced in to make it 1-1.
You look at the shallow hit in left fields that we initially thought was an error, and then you get an error in the outfield on the next play as well. So almost kind of lightens the mood as well between the lineup, especially for a Harwich team that was so accustomed to high level of RBI production last year.
As that one misses up and away, and hard fastball from Steven that time, and he's starting to show some control problems. As Wyatt mentioned, some activity in the bullpen for the Red Sox. We'll see how quickly they make the hook move. 2-1. Breaking ball hit Culpepper really awkwardly on his left arm. He seems to be okay, but going to need a minute to shake it off. One tough customer in Kalen Culpepper, and he will gladly take his base to load him up for the designated hitter in Kennedy Jones.
It's a moment like that where with 2 outs, you're looking for a quick ground ball. That slider, again, just didn't break into the zone, and now you're working with the bases loaded, no bases to fill, and all of a sudden you seem to be in a little bit more trouble.
See what Jones can do. He struck out in his first at-bat. As Steven comes set. And the pitch. Misses down low to make it 1-0. Kennedy Jones, a Virginia native. He's ahead in the count 1-0. The pitch. Just misses the inside corner to make it 2-0. 14 home runs this past season for Kennedy Jones. has some serious power. Also drove in 43 hitters in his 59 games played. Hitters count. And it's going to be a cut and chopped foul down the line to make it 2-1. Kennedy Jones, the designated hitter tonight, was on the 2023 Golden Spikes preseason watch list and preseason All-SoCon first team. So some great accolades to be mentioned with there. As Stevens sent for the 2-1 delivery. Check swing, yes he did, and it was in there anyway, so says Fonseca. And it'll be a 2-2 count. Huge pitch coming up for Cal Steven.
It's definitely where you want to force yourself to develop with that slider. Yet to see it go for a looking strikeout here today. We'll see if he goes back to it here. Bases loaded.
2-2. Misses down low, and that will make the count full at 3-2. So runners will be moving on the pitch. The carousel will be rounding. And we'll see if Kennedy Jones is able to put something in play here. Big pitch for Steven, trying to get out of this bases loaded jam and stop the bleeding to give his team a chance to stay in the game, even this early on. The 3-2 pitch. That is going to be lined and caught. What a play by Mitch Voigt, a leaping grab, and he's able to haul it in and save his team 2, if not 3 or 4 more runs. Great job there by Voigt to haul it in, and we head to inning number 3. Mariners take a 3-run lead back onto the defensive side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back. Top of the 3rd inning will be John Pappas, who climbs in for the Red Sox. 9-1-2 set to lead things off in the 3rd, as there'll be a 1-0 count. Back to the hill is Sam Armstrong. He's been great. Trying to keep going here, but he's falling behind 2-0 hitters count now for Pappas. That one fouled it off himself. Appears to be okay. Didn't get him too bad. So Pappas remains ahead in the count 2-1. Armstrong rocks and fires. Fouled off. And it'll be 2-2 now.
Had that same 2-2 count to Mitch Voigt, the 8-hole hitter back in the 2nd. We'll see what he can replicate here. 1-2-3, and he really seemed as if he was settling in after a startling first frame.
Swing and a miss. Armstrong gets the strikeout. That's K number 5 for him. Of the 7 outs, 5 of them have been strikeouts at the hands of Armstrong. Despite his pitch count being way up there, he has delivered. And so that will be Now 6 straight set down by Armstrong.
Ever since that 1-2-3 inning, he's gotten some dominant help on the ground as well from his defense.
As bunt was pulled back by Archer, and ball actually got all the way to the backstop. Ball and no strikes now to Nathan Archer. Struck out looking back in the first inning as he grounds this one over to Culpepper. Culpepper gathers and fires a strike in time. What a play by Culpepper. Had to get it there in a hurry, and he did. That will be out number 2. Tally up to 7 straight retired by Armstrong.
Ever since he allowed the back-to-back walks back in the first following that looking strikeout on Archer, now 0 for 2 at the top of the lineup. It's been cruise control thus far for Armstrong. We'll see what else he can do as he's also dominated with that changeup.
Nice to see Culpepper make that play, too, after being hit by the pitch in the last inning. Seems to be doing pretty good, I would say. As first pitch now to Brady Day is in there to make it a 0-1 count. This next one bounced in the dirt to even up the count at 1. Jacob Christian on deck. Sox trying to chip away at the early lead the Mariners have made, as this ball going to be fair, picked up and fired onto first by Jackson Horning for out number 3. 1, 2, 3 go the Red Sox in order. We head to the bottom of the third. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
From Old Dominion.
5, 6, 7. Yep, deja vu if you're a Mariners fan, as it'll be Fitzgerald, Scannell, and Horning 2 up for the M's. They started an inning that in all would come around to score, actually, when that required 9 batters to be faced by the starter who remains out there, and Kai Stephen. It's 1-0 to start Fitzgerald now. As it stands, 3-0 Harwich on 4 hits and no errors, no runs, no hits, and an error for the YD Red Sox. Ball and a strike after that one is grooved down Broadway. Fitzgerald watches that one miss down and in to make it 2-1. No Red Sox actively throwing in the bullpen, but definitely some stretching going on. This one's going to be flared off the end of the bat, foul, back for one lucky fan.
Fitzgerald's someone who can go into counts pretty well here in the 5 spot. Already doubled to right center field after going to 2-1 back an inning ago.
2-2 pitch. This one is going to be popped foul back towards the same area, and we'll do it again at 2-2.
Strong awakening for either starting pitcher here tonight, having to go to a plethora of 3- and 2-ball pitches thus far.
So it has been. As another 2-2. This one's going to be popped in the same spot once again. 3 straight foul balls back towards our 7, 8 o'clock area here in Al Graber press box. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be grounded up the middle, not quite into center field. A nice throw over to first, and that will be an out. What a beautiful play by Vieira over to Christian. That one looked like it had center field marked all over it, but Vieira cutting across the diamond and recording the out. Really beautiful stretch from Jacob Christian, and that will be an interesting and uncomfortable first out recorded by the Red Sox.
An excellent effort that time from Vieira, shading behind Day just to prevent that one from getting past the outfield lip, and just like that, there's one out.
Matt Scannell will dig in and watch strike one go by. He walked and scored back in the second inning. Trying to start this rally now for the Mariners, looking to add some insurance to their lead. The pitch. Big swing and a miss. Took Scannell down to one knee, and he'll be behind in the count 0-2. Oh-2 pitch. Checked his swing. No, he did not. So says Fonseca, the home plate umpire. And Scannell will be just the third strikeout victim for Steven, but a big second out.
So typical middle of the lineup guy, and Scannell just unable to prevent a strikeout that time. Earned a walk, came out a score back in the second.
First pitch to Horning, who tripled and came around to score. Biggest play of the ball game thus far. See what he can do in his second at-bat against Steven. 1-0 misses down, and it'll be 2-0, Horning ahead in the count. Steven rocks and delivers. That one on the inside corner. Horning thought it was a touch inside. So Steven gets one back in the count. It'll be 2-1.
Yeah, he's really shown his fastball to be a convincing pitch, but still behind in the count, 2-1. We'll see what he goes to here.
As this one's going to be popped foul off to the right, giving chases Christian towards the fence and out of play. The kids swarm. That ball's like a magnet when it lands in foul territory, I'll tell you. I mean, everybody just headed that way. And so we'll have another 2-ball, 2-strike count here with 2 outs. Red Sox looking for their first 1-2-3 inning of the contest.
And there were some ominous skies before first pitch, but the weather has certainly cleared up quite well. Anything but ominous at this point. Shadows extending on the infield.
Yeah, we got really lucky for sure with how it turned out. As that will be a swing and a miss. Strike 3, and down goes Horning. Back-to-back strikeouts that time for Steven. 1-2-3 go the Mariners. We head to the second, third. We'll be right back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. To the middle third we go, and for play-by-play for innings 4 through 6 will be my broadcast partner, Wyatt Kopelman. Wyatt.
Well, it's the start of the 100th year of Cape Cod baseball And first pitch goes low from Sam Armstrong to Jacob Christian, the 3-hole hitter, for ball number 1. We're underway here in the top of the 4th, 3-run, 3-inning for Harwich. If you're just joining us, Armstrong of Old Dominion, he deals a pitch. This time it's cut on and miss. It's 1-1. Devin, 100th season of Cape Cod baseball. You consider how it started with 4 teams, and to see how far it's come, a lot of unique stories going into this year. 1-1 outside. It's 2-1. You look at, particularly for Steve Anglert, nearing 400 wins as the field manager for the Harwich Mariners, and actually celebrating his 20th season as the head coach of Harwich this year. The field manager, 2-1 on the way, is served down the right side. It's 2-2. So a lot of continuity to be had, not only going into individual accomplishments, but also for Harwich after finishing 4th in the Great Plains in the Cape Cod East Division last year. Armstrong with the 2-2. Slider goes outside, 3-2.
It is remarkable, though, how this league started with 4 teams and has blossomed into the prospect powerhouse that it is known as today.
And a payoff pitch on the way. It swung on and missed. Leadoff man gone here for Yarmouth Dennis, trailing Harwich 3-0 here in the top of the 4th. And now 8 straight retired by the starter in Sam Armstrong. I'd say it's a pretty good start on opening night in front of a good crowd here at White House Field.
No kidding. And when you think about how back in the first inning he worked, all 5 batters he faced, the counts were worked full, and he's been able to hang in there, throw pitches, and he's now up to 6 strikeouts. He's really locked in.
So now he'll face the cleanup hitter in Hunter Hines, who watches one low there. Hines on the afternoon, 0 for 1, struck out swinging for Armstrong's second back in the first. Another 1-0 on the way. Skips low, goes all the way to the backstop. Wild pitch. So 2-0 here to Hines, the sophomore of Mississippi State. As mentioned earlier, first team All-SEC honoree after hitting .297 with 61 RBIs down in Starkville. Some really intriguing individual talent throughout these 2 rosters here tonight. 2-0, taken for a strike high. The changeup has worked well. The slider is starting to come alive for Armstrong as well. And we'll see what he goes to here as he tries to retire another. The 2-1, just outside. It's 3-1.
Other games going on around the league. It's Wareham taking on Falmouth, Katuitt playing Chatham, and Brewster with Bourne. Of course, the Chatham game rained out.
Lofted over and foul.
Your attention, please, if you are driving a mass fire.
So it'll be a payoff pitch again here for Armstrong to deal after striking out Hines back in the first. As Devin said, 6 strikeouts already. He's working quickly. The payoff pitch is tapped back behind home plate, and we'll do it again. You look at that first inning, Devin, Armstrong certainly needing a lot of deep counts to settle in here, but then went 1-2-3 in the second, replicating that in the third as well. He fell, as you said, into 5 straight payoff pitch scenarios as he tries to win this one. This one's chopped up towards the second baseman in Camarillo, fires on to first, well in time. 2 up and 2 away here in the 4th as Harwich still leads 3-0.
He is really, really locked in. That is now, I believe, 10 straight batters that have been retired. Yes, it is, at the hands of Armstrong. But around the league, Bourne on top of Brewster, 3-2 in the top of the 5th. 1-0 Wareham over Falmouth in the top of the 2nd, and Orleans and Hyannis tied at 0 in the 3rd.
So now Armstrong faces Apodaca, the center fielder. Flares one towards left field. It's going to go well foul past the Harwich bullpen. Apodaca, a victim of the backwards K against Armstrong here today. Redshirt sophomore of Gonzaga, native of Scottsdale, Arizona, hit .281 at Gonzaga this year. 0-1, takes a bounce in front of the dirt. It's 1-1. Armstrong against Southpaws this season, Devin, at Old Dominion, had 38 strikeouts to 17 walks. So as he faces a left-hander here in Apodaca, certainly has a particular advantage to carry over from Old Dominion. Old Dominion actually just shifted to the Sun Belt Conference. 1-1 on the way. Changed up, taken down the pipe. It's 1-2. Just shifted to the Sun Belt Conference after many years of the Conference USA. So a bit of a shift here for a lot of guys in this Harwich Mariners roster on day one. 1-2. Lofted back behind. We'll do it again.
It is cool to see the conference realignment. We've been seeing a lot more of it. I know Oklahoma, They're moving to the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. And then, is it Texas as well? So, a lot of movement.
Here's a small tapper back to Armstrong off the mound. Scoops onto first well in time. His third straight 1-2-3 inning. He has retired 11 straight here for Harwich, which still leads Yarmouth Dennis 3-0 going into the home half of the fourth here from White House Field. Don't go away. You're listening to Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. All right, so a 3-0 lead for Harwich over Yarmouth Dennis here on opening night of the 100th Cape Cod baseball season, right here from White House Fields. A 1-2-3 job here for Sam Armstrong, replicated back in the third inning as well for Cal Stephen of Purdue, as he's set to face 8-9-1 here for Harwich. Kenny Lavari, returning Harwich Mariner, back in. He lofts it down the left field line, and it's through for a base hit. Lavari taking a wide turn around first, and he won't be stopping as he will get into second sliding with a leadoff double, and Harwich has its 5th hit of the season.
Really nice piece of hitting, just getting the barrel of the bat to the outside off-speed pitch and just catapulting it into left field in an easy slide-in double for Kenny Lavari. He's got some serious speed and a very ideal way to start off inning number 4 here for Harwich.
And to consider how he reached base last time, Devin, back in the second, actually on a small bloop single into left field. That time had a lot more charge off the bat as he works right off of second here, forces Stephen to work out of the stretch again here in the fourth after sending Harwich down 1-2-3 back in the first. The Davidson product in Ryan Wilson steps up, watches one on the outer half for strike number 1. And Wilson reaching on that E8 back in the second. It's the only error for either side here today. But Harwich right now getting 3 runs on all earned. 3 runs second inning if you're just joining us. 2-run triple from Jackson Horning, giving Harwich its first runs of the year. 7 from the first base side, as that one's looped down the right side. It's going to be 0-2 quickly here to Wilson.
Wilson hit .387 this past season for the Wildcats. That was a team high. He was fantastic for them. Also led in doubles with 17, runs with 17, RBI with 54.
Had a standout sophomore season as well, starting 49 games at first and 7 in the outfield. Just joined Harwich here a couple of days ago. Stephen tries a pickoff attempt back at second. So 3-0 Harwich leading here in the bottom of the fourth. A 2-run single from Jackson Horning, a graduate of Skidmore College at the D3 level, and Harwich also scoring another thereafter. Relatively one-sided game thus far, still yet to provide any hits for Yarmouth Dennis. Stephen with the 0-2. And it goes just off the outer half again. It's 1-2.
Stephen not happy with himself either, banging his hip and chest as if to tell the catcher, in Pappas, that's my fault. Clearly frustrated out there. And now having to work out of a jam with no outs.
And Devin, Stephen had worked into a groove of 4 straight retired going into this inning as well. We'll see how he responds. The 1-2, healthy swing and a miss, fastball high. 5th strikeout here for Stephen. and the third and the last 4 batters faced, and there's one away.
He's finally been able to settle in after he hit some serious turbulence in the second inning, faced all 9 hitters in the Mariner order, and he's frankly quite lucky that only 3 runs were scored after how the Mariners were hitting the ball and how the YD team was playing defense.
All right, so that brings up the utility man and Jacob Humphrey getting the start in center here today. Works with Lavari on second. Just one away here in the bottom of the 4th from White House Field, opening night. Curveball tapped back behind home plate. Humphrey, the junior of Maine, Standish, Maine native. Stands at 5'10", 180. Rising junior at UMass Lowell. His sophomore year, he was second in average at 317. Strong OPS, north of 940 as well. And boy, could Harwich use that here to provide some insurance runs here in the bottom of the 4th with a 3-zip lead. Steven, the Purdue product, deals a breaking ball that goes down the middle, and it's 0-2 as Humphrey will have to shield here. He's 0 for 2 here today. That can almost go erased if he's able to put one past the middle infield. And Harwich has been adept at being able to take advantage of the lines as well. Lavari on second, he led off with a single down the left field line to start off the frame. The 2-strike pitch. Slider goes way outside. It's 1-2.
And Humphrey, not a big guy, just 5'10", 180, but he has some serious pop in that bat. Hits 9 home runs last season for the Riverhawks after hitting just 2 in his freshman year.
So aside from a 3-run difference between Harwich and Yarmouth Dennis, 11 combined strikeouts, 1-2. They swung on and missed. 6th strikeout here for Steven, bouncing back after giving up 3 runs back in the second, and there are 2 away with a man still in scoring position for Harwich.
So both starters now up to 6 strikeouts, and once again, the problem for the Mariners early on here in the season has been moving runners around with no outs. They've now had 3 runners at either second or third with nobody gone down, and so far, they've all been stranded if this inning ends. There's been 2 stranded thus far.
And Harwich left the bases loaded back in the second despite tacking on the game's first 3 runs as Ali Camarillo now steps in from the right side. A tall stance as you see. Steven working out of the stretch here. Breaking ball misses high for ball 1. So Camarillo getting Harwich its first hit and extra base hit with a 1-out double back in the first as he tries to work in more run production here with 2 away in the bottom of the 4th. Harwich leading 3-0 over Yarmouth Dennis on opening night. Gorgeous night to start a 100th season of Cape Cod baseball. 1-0, a swing and a miss that time, and it's 1-1.
Camarillo's got that interesting stance in the batter's box. Holds the bat a little bit like Verdugo, down by his hips in front of him as opposed to over the shoulder, and then he'll get into his load.
Brought a good deal of benefits as well. Sophomore year at CSU Northridge hit 371, so you can tell that certainly a lot of continuity to be had with that approach as the 1-1 goes swung on a miss. It's 1-2. So Camarillo 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Double to left field back in the first, struck out swinging in the second. Meanwhile, Cal Steven trying to work out of another jam here after retiring 4 straight into the 4th inning here. The 1-2 on the way. Swing and a miss, a foul tip into the glove. So Harwich strands another in scoring position, scoring no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 on base. A 3-0 lead for Harwich going into the 5th inning. You're listening to Harwich Mariners baseball from White House Field on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. 3-0 lead for Harwich going into the 5th against Yarmouth Dennis on opening night. New pitcher into the ball game here for the Mariners to fill Sam Armstrong after 4 strong innings of no hits and no earned runs, 6 strikeouts and 2 walks. Joe Savino, the returning pitcher for Harwich this season after throwing in 11 innings, 11 games at Elon, I should say, as he deals the first pitch on the outer half for strike 1 here. And Joe Savino, someone who has really dealt a strong sense of command not only for the fastball but for the slider, as you saw there. 0-1 on the way. It's going to be flared back behind home plate, and it'll be 0-2 here as it bounces foul. So up here for Yarmouth Dennis to lead off the 5th, Max Vieira, Jimmy Evans, and Mitch Voigt. Vieira 0 for 1 here today as he tries to avoid an 0 for 2 start to the season. Have to protect the 0-2. Fastball runs high as he stays alive. So how about that? You start off with 4 no-hit innings as a starter from Old Dominion for Harwich, 1-2. Lofted into shallow center field, stay in the infield for the pop-out, and there's 1 away. Now 12 straight retired here against Yarmouth Dennis, going into the hands of Joe Savino.
Yeah, the game started at a rather slow pace. I think it took 45 minutes, maybe more, to play the first 2 innings, but since then we've really settled in as both pitchers, and now 3 if you include Savino, have really found their rhythm and are retiring hitters like it's nothing.
I turns it over to Jimmy Evans as it bounces off the mitt of the catcher in Horning. 3-0 lead for Harwich here in the top of the 5th from White House Fields. Gorgeous night for opening night on the Cape League here as that one's bounced foul. Jimmy Evans 0 for 1 here tonight, grounded out 6-3 back in the 2nd. Start to feel the pressure already mounting here on the returner in Savino after those 4 solid innings out of Armstrong. Check swing, appeal down to 3rd. Third base umpire Mickey Garcia says he went around. It's 1-2 again.
See if Savino can pick up on the strikeout train, as Armstrong had 6 of his own after a solid 4 innings.
A 1-2. Breaking ball goes outside. 2-2. So it's 13 combined strikeouts between Harwich and Yarmouth Dennis here, despite the 3-run difference, and still yet to go for a hit here for Yarmouth Dennis. This one's a chopper over towards the right side. A few bounces for Camarillo, the CSU Northridge product, fields in time, and there are 2 away. Well,
like clockwork over there at second base. He's getting all the action and making it look easy on those candy hops and easy pop flies. Mariners really rolling right now.
Strong combination of ground ball induced contact here now for Savino after Armstrong went 4 innings with the 6 strikeouts. This one's lined down the right field line and through for a base hit. And he'll stop at first. Mitch Voigt with a strong 2-out base hit. Wasn't anything super strong to the alleys, Devin, but now Yarmouth Dennis with its first hit on the season, still trailing 3-0, and seemed to have a little bit more momentum on what that hit would provide.
Yeah, it's just good to get your mojo going like that. I mean, you think about being no-hit through 5 complete innings almost, and that's just honestly unacceptable at this level. So really good for YD to cash in there with a hit, and we'll see if they can capitalize.
Goes low to the 9-hole hitter in John Pappas, junior of Cal Poly Pomona, native of Chino Hills, California. A lot of good high school basketball talent out of that region. The 1-0 laced back, and it's 1-1.
Another thing you got to factor in here at White House is that sun is setting right now, so the outfielders as well as your second baseman in Camarillo and your first baseman in Fitzgerald are going to have to battle it and make sure they can see the ball.
Breaking ball skied out towards left field, backing up Wilson. He'll continue to go back, and he makes the catch at the warning track. My goodness, the Davidson product putting a little bit of extra run on that one, going for an extra half mile. As Yarmouth Dennis is unable to tack on a run despite getting its first hit of the game. It brings 4 to the plate, scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 stranded. 3-0 lead for Harwich going into the home half of the 5th here from White House Field. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Due up for Harwich, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in Caden Culpepper, Kennedy Jones, Hunter Fitzgerald. A new pitcher on the mound here for the Red Sox. We'll tell you a little about him in a moment. Relieving Cal Steven, 6'4", 225-pound right-hander. Culpepper in here again today. Goes off the plate with the slider.
Almost got hit. He's already been hit today and had to jump out of the way in that one in a hurry.
So it's the Nevada product and native of Seal Beach, California, and the 6'6", 230-pound Jason Doktorczyk on the right-hander on the mound here for Yarmouth Dennis. As he fires a strike on the upper half, it's 1-1 here to Culpepper. Yet to reach off of a walk or a hit here today. But a solid outing for Steven aside from the 3 earned runs allowed, I should say. 1-1, a big swing and miss. 1-2. 7 strikeouts for Steven. Despite giving up a 3-run third inning. So you talk about settling in, what it meant for Sam Armstrong. Steven finding a similar sense of continuity, Devin. As he tries for strikeout number 1 here. 1-2, lofted foul. It'll stay right there.
I mean, you got to tip your cap after all that adversity. Usually it's pretty difficult for a guy to be able to settle back in, but came away with 7 strikeouts through just 4 innings. That is a really good margin, but his pitch count getting up there had to be pulled.
Pitch count was starting to spike as well as that one gets called looking on the upper inside corner to Culpepper. On a nasty breaking ball as Culpepper strikes out for the first time today, and there are 8 strikeouts for Yarmouth Dennis pitching. A very common theme aside from the spiking pitch counts, but it's meant something different. Meanwhile, for Steven, it was about trying to settle in after the 3 earned runs. And for Armstrong, meanwhile, Devin, it was just about trying to settle in after allowing back-to-back one-out walks back in the first, and we'll see what Kennedy Jones, the cleanup hitter, has to offer here against the right-hander. So still nobody on here for Harwich to get started here in the bottom of the 5th as he watches one high.
And yeah, to talk about Armstrong, another guy who really was able to overcome some serious adversity in those counts that were being so worked up in the first inning, really settled down.
Strong chopper over towards the left side, bobbled by Voigt, and his backup in Vieira won't be able to help him at the lip of the outfield grass. As an E5 is ruled here, and the second error of the day already for the Red Sox. Trailing 3-0, and you look at what the Red Sox have missed with their opportunities to close out innings. Could have some dire implications going down the stretch of this one with it being a 3-run difference.
Yeah, it really has been just tough defense, and another one that arguably could have been an error in the collision out and left. So sloppy defense, still working out the communication with one another. So, yeah, definitely going to be a battle going forward.
One away here for Hunter Fitzgerald. Stepping in with a runner to work with as the reliever for Yarmouth Dennis in Doktorczyk works out of the stretch for the first time today. Has a strikeout, but certainly looking for an ending ground ball double play. 0-1. Skied back behind. It's 0-2.
Some score updates. Bourne on top of Brewster, 4-3 in the bottom of the 6th out at Stony Brook Field in Brewster. Wareham on top of Falmouth, 5-0 in the top of the 3rd at Arnie Allen Diamond. And the Firebirds on top of Hyannis, 2-0 in the bottom of the 4th.
Full day of action here on opening night. That one spiked down the left side. We'll stay at 0-2. Fitzgerald with that key double back in the 2nd to lead it off to right center field. Has a strong approach as a lefty here in the Harwich lineup. Prime spot here against another right-hander fresh into the game here in the 5th. 3 runs on 5 hits for the Mariners. No runs on 1 hit. 2 errors committed for Yarmouth Dennis as that one's tapped back behind. We saw 5 straight payoff pitches dealt by Sam Armstrong, the starter of Old Dominion here for Harwich. And right now Harwich is starting to replicate that as it's an 0-2 pitch coming again here to Hunter Fitzgerald, 1 for 2 on the evening. And not much wind to work with out in the outfield as well. We'll see what the hitting opportunity brings here. Swing and a miss that time on a slider. 2nd strikeout already here, and there are 2 away for the reliever in Doktorczyk after Steven went 4 innings full.
Nasty breaking ball there. Just pulled the string on it as it crossed the plate and left Fitzgerald looking silly as he swung right over that one. And that will be out number 2 here. You take a look over at first base, not to cut you off, but the player's battling that sun.
Hard to see the signs at some point. That one lofted back for strike 1.
Got to be careful on a pickoff, too, if you're Doktorchik, because if he throws over there and the first baseman and Christian can't see it, it skips all the way over towards the bullpen, and then it's an extra 90 feet.
The 0-1. Broke down the right side, but it goes just foul.
Nice piece of contact that time from Scannell. Nice to see him barrel one up, and for the players, it's got to feel good to hit the ball in the sweet spot. The sweet spot on a wooden bat, much smaller than a metal bat, so once you find it and are able to really give it a ride, makes your confidence that much better.
And Devin, I'd say that had a little bit more velocity off the bat than what we saw for Yarmouth Dennis's first hit with 2 away back in the prior half. 0-2. Lofted out towards left field. 3 charging on, and it's going to be up to the left fielder, and Evans makes the catch for the final out of the 5th. So Harwich brings 4 to the plate here in the 5th, scoring no runs on no hits, 1 error, and leaving 1 on. A 3-0 lead for Harwich going into the 6th. We'll be right back. This is Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Sixth inning for the Red Sox.
Joe Savino back on the mound here for Harwich, leading Yarmouth Dennis 3-0. 3 runs on 5 hits. No errors committed for the Mariners. No runs, 1 hit, 2 errors for Yarmouth Dennis. As Joe Savino deals the first pitch, swung on and missed for strike number 1 here.
And he can really bring it. Savino, a guy who was given the award for the best pitcher on the Mariners at the end of last season.
That one taken high, peeled down to third, and third base umpire Mickey Garcia confirms it's 0-2. Yeah, a lot of continuity. We were talking about Joe Savino a little bit earlier. Career ERA of 3.94 as the 0-2 dips low at Elon this year. The Ronkonkoma, New York native, certainly providing a lot of stability over for Elon. Nice veteran to have here for Harwich to start the season. Tries for a strikeout, 1-2. Takes a bounce in front of the plate, and it's 2-2. Nathan Archer, the leadoff hitter here today for Yarmouth Dennis, tasked with providing some momentum at the top of the lineup. He's 0 for 2 thus far. That 2-2 just runs inside, and it's 3-2 here. He faced a full count back in the first, grounded out 6-3 on a 1-0 count back in the third. We'll see how well he protects here. The payoff pitch, chopped back up the mound and up the middle. Tough play for Culpepper at short as he loses it into center field. And a leadoff base hit here for the Red Sox.
And not much more you can ask for to start the 6th here if you're YD. I was just about to say, if you're going to get going, it's got to be now because you got the top of your order up. You're trailing by 3, and you've had no offense all game. What a better time than now to get going. And a leadoff single will do just the trick.
Well, if you're just joining us, Harwich pitching, retiring 13 straight going into Savino in his first relief appearance on the year. Very momentous work thus far from Harwich pitching between the starter and Sam Armstrong and Savino as Brady Day takes one on the inner half for strike 1. Close line on Sam Armstrong, the Old Dominion right-hander, started today, went 4 hitless innings without allowing an earned run. Tacked on 6 strikeouts with 2 walks as well. The 0-1 down the middle. 0-2 quickly here today, reached on a walk back in the first, grounded out 2-3 back in the third. Now, it is only opening night, Devin, but you consider how you activate the bats as that one goes swung on and missed. Out in front, Brady Day, and they're one away here in the sixth. You consider how important it is, as you said, to really get the activation of the lineup going. A lot of time left here on the season, of course, with it only being opening night, but you want to be able to provide some answers for yourself here, despite not having any runs on the board thus far. So another strikeout here for Savino as he deals one low to the 3-hole hitter in Jacob Christian. Reached on a walk back in the first, struck out swinging in the fourth.
And if going off of that, if you're YD, you got 3, 4, 5 that could potentially come up here. Runner on, got to find a way to move the runners around. Not going to be able to do it.
Oh, ball in the dirt, lobbing throw down to second as it goes into the glove of Culpepper. Great backup that time to prevent the runner in Archer from getting all the way to third after it reached off the leadoff single to center field. But, you know, you have the tendency just in baseball, regardless of the collegiate or professional level, to count the outs. And you want to be able to say that you can at least come back and make this a ball game. Of course, it's still being a 3-run difference, but to be able to level the ball game with still 4 innings to work with here if you're Yarmouth Dennis as the 1-1 goes low. Starts to change the landscape a little bit here if you're Savino. You're making your first relief appearance, but now you're working out the stretch as well as with a runner in scoring position. And Harwich not having a run since the 3rd inning. It's only 3 on the afternoon. Feeling a little bit more pressure here. 2-1, breaking ball smashed into left field. It's down for a base hit. Archer from second to third as stopping at first. Jacob Christian going from station to station here. Runners on the corners. Perhaps a particular angle you want to be following here if you're Yarmouth Dennis in the heart of the lineup.
A really nice piece of hitting that time by Christian, able to get his hands inside the baseball and just throw it right out to left field. Really nice piece of hitting there. And now you got your cleanup hitter who represents the tying run coming up to the plate in Hunter Hines.
So now 3 hits on the evening for Yarmouth Dennis, trailing Harwich 3-0. The first pitch to Hines bounces low. Good block that time by Horning, the Skidmore College graduate. And Hines is due here, Devin, 0 for 2 with a strikeout, swinging back in the first, grounded out to second back in the fourth. You can imagine the sense of reward as he swings and misses that time. It's 1-1. You imagine the sense of reward that you get to be able to at least put one past the infield and strike away the 0 for 2 start to the afternoon. And you see Savino working out of that slanted stance. Ground ball, double play opportunity alive here. Harwich team that's been solid on the infield today. That one bounces low. It's 2-1. So this command's starting to go a little bit wavering here for Savino. We'll see what he responds with here. We've seen that fastball. We'll see what he can do to try and induce some ground ball contact.
And a gaping hole over between first and second with the double play depth intact.
2-1. That one goes low. Ball in the dirt again. And diving in safely will be Jacob Christian. So a wild pitch here as Savino continues to struggle here in this at-bat for Hunter Hines, 0 for 2. And he doesn't have much momentum behind him either, so if you're Yarmouth Dennis, you can really sense the sense of ambition here within the top third of the lineup. Now going into the cleanup hitter in Hunter Hines, working with Archer on third, Christian on second, as that one's a called strike, as it's going to be 3-2.
Yeah, the Mariners want to save as many runs as they can. You see, or actually, as soon as I say that, the classic jinx as they move back onto the outfield grass, but they were just on the infield grass.
Huge pitch here. Taps down the right side. We'll do it again.
Big pitch indeed, and with only 1 out, a lot YD can do to get themselves on the scoreboard. We'll see if Savino's able to make a few big pitches in the same manner that Steven was able to do a couple innings ago.
The payoff pitch again. Swing and a miss. Slider that Hines was too far out in front of. The second strikeout of the inning here for Savino, and there are 2 away. Perhaps the most invaluable out here for Savino in his first relief outing on the year.
And he nods in approval. Him and Horning finding themselves on the same page. A beautiful breaking ball that snapped just inside on the hands, tied the hitter up in Hunter Hines in a big second out. Now the Mariners can get out of this. No harm done. Just need an out.
So that brings up Enzo Apodaca as he takes one at the belt for strike 1. Apodaca, similar to the designated hitter in Hines. 0 for 2, struck out looking back in the first against Sam Armstrong, who had a dazzling start to this season. 4 hitless innings. The 0-1 from Savino goes high on a fastball. It's 1-1. Apodaca struck out looking back in the first, grounded out to Armstrong back in the fourth. Part of a 13-batter retired stretch. Hard to ask for much more on opening night.
Yeah, it was impressive.
1-1, a bunt attempt, lofted back. It's 1-2.
And a bit aggressive there from Coach Pickler, especially a guy in the middle of your lineup. Not expecting to see him drop one down with 2 outs. I mean, got to have some serious confidence in your player. I can't imagine that was a missed sign. That's just a very interesting move to consider a bunt there.
Well, Savino doesn't want to have to fill the vacant base here as the 1-2. Breaking ball, skied out towards shallow center, left the outfield grass, Camarillo, as he makes the final out of the inning with a small pop out to second. So Ari Armith-Dennis unable to scratch across a run, still here in the 6th, as it brings 5 to plate, scores no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and leaves 2 stranded in scoring position. Huge out here for Savino as we go to the bottom of the 6th with Harwich still leading Yarmouth-Dennis 3-0 on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Jackson Horning coming up to bat here in the bottom of the 6th. Harwich ahead of Yarmouth-Dennis 3-0 going into the later stages of this one. Back on the mound, Doktorczyk for Yarmouth-Dennis. First pitch taken on the outer half for strike 1. Horning reaching third on a 2-run double to get Harwich on the board back in the 2nd as he ropes this one into center field. And it's going to be shallow center. Quick play for Vieira. Leadoff man's gone here for Harwich. And ever since Doktorczyk's come on the mound here in these middle innings, Devin, you have to imagine the agenda is just to get quick outs, try and set up the lineup, but the lineup has not really been compensing much going into the final few innings here.
Yeah, if you're Harwich, you are not safe with that 3-run lead, especially after we saw what YD was able to do in the last inning, and they were a couple pitches away from loading the bases and really could have made it hurt with just one swing of the bat.
And Harwich has left some chances on the board as well as Kenny Lavari takes one on the inner half for strike 1. Lavari reaching second on single to left back in the 2nd, then double 2 innings later as he swings and misses. It's quickly 0-2. Harwich leaving the bases loaded back in the 2nd despite scratching across their first 3 runs on the season. Middle of the infield is wide open here for the southpaw and Lavari starting at third here today. 2-strike pitch goes high and outside. It's 1-2.
Lavari with already a 2-hit game. He's got a single and a double. His college best was 4 hits in a game against Fordham back on February 26th of this year.
Low and inside there to Lavari, the 8-hole hitter here today. Hitting's contagious many times in baseball, especially in the early goings of the season where you're trying to find some continuity within the lineup. To have it in the bottom third of the lineup is quite crucial for the returner in Lavari as he tries to protect here. 2-2. Taken high, payoff pitch coming. 3-0 lead for Harwich over Yarmouth-Dennis here in its season opener. Just a gorgeous night to start the 100th year of Cape Cod baseball. As Devin mentioned earlier, action-packed night. Payoff pitch just runs high. So Lavari wins the full count battle. He reaches for the third time today, and he draws his first walk on the season to set up Ryan Wilson in the 9-hole.
Really nice at bat by Lavari. He actually has already matched his Cape Cod Baseball League career high, which was 2 hits against Orleans back on June 21st of last year.
One out base runner here for Harwich as Ryan Wilson steps back up, reached on an error by the center fielder in Apodaca, so he takes one for a strike. Wilson also striking out, swinging back in the 4th after Lavari doubled to lead off. Right now Harwich needing to get runners in scoring position. A test of urgency here out of Steve Englert's crew as he brings in his 20th season as the field manager here in Harwich. So it's 1-1 here to Ryan Wilson. Important opportunity for Harwich to get the bats going again here in the 6th after not getting a hit back in the 5th. The 1-1 from Doctorick. It goes outside. It's 2-1.
Yeah, Englert, just a great guy. The players love him year in, year out. Keeps it loose in the clubhouse, and he understands that this is a treat to be playing summer baseball on the Cape and wants to make this experience as memorable as possible for each of these kids.
Wilson looking for a memorable at-bat here as he fouls one back. It's 2-2. He had 75 hits with 17 doubles, 17 home runs at Davidson this year, a veteran who played in multiple different summer collegiate leagues going into this summer. Played for the NECBL last year and the Coastal Plains in 2021. We'll see what he's capable of doing here. 2-2. Breaking ball on the outer half as it gets called looking. 10th strikeout here for Yarmouth Dennis pitching, and the 3rd strikeout here for Doktorczyk, as there are 2 away, and a runner still on first here for the leadoff hitter and Jacob Humphrey.
Yeah, Harwich has really gotten quiet as of late with the bats. They've had just 1 hit in the last 4 innings, including this one, so need to start seeing the bats go to work. Can't fall and hang your hat in a 3-run lead.
Quick pickoff attempt at first, unsuccessful. Runner at first is Kenny Lavari after earning a 1-out walk, and that being the first of the season against Doktorczyk. Not the fastest, not the slowest pace here on opening night. Seems just about right. Breaking ball goes down the chute for a strike.
Well, it's nice because it started off really slow. We were playing some slow baseball. Pitchers were working counts, and then since then it's been a pitcher's duel. There has not been too many hits. So it's kind of leveled off, which is nice.
For the last 5 retired by Yarmouth Dennis. 0-1. Looped out towards left center field, chasing after Apodaca. He's going to leave it for Evans to close out the 6th inning. So Harwich bringing 4 to the plate once again, as it did in the 5th, scoring no runs on no hits, no errors, and leaving 1 stranded. 3-0 lead for Harwich as it tries to hold on going into the final 3 here on opening night from White House Field and the opening night of the 100th Cape Cod baseball season as you're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Joe Savino back on the mound here for Harwich. 3-0 lead over the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox here at White House Field. Wyatt Kopelman here with Devin Dobick as we go back over to Devin for the final 3 innings.
Thank you, Wyatt. First pitch is fouled back for strike 1. Joe Savino back out there for his 3rd inning of work thus far. He's been all right, got out of a tough jam last time with back-to-back outs with runners in both 2nd and 3rd. As this one's going to be popped up in a shallow right field. Camarillo going back, coming in is Scannell, and Scannell will be the one to pull it in to make it out number 1.
Quiet night for Vieira thus far. 0 for 3 with a pop-out, fly-out, and a ground-out. Perhaps something more promising awaiting if he's able to come up in the final 2 innings here.
Brings up Jimmy Evans. Evans on the day 0 for 2. He's grounded out to both middle infielders at short and 2nd. As I believe we're going to have a pinch hitter, actually, for the YD Red Sox. It's going to be Nick Mitchell.
From Western Illinois, number 6, Nick
So Mitchell will take the reins for Evans, who's now been yanked from the game.
One interesting sense of dominance with Mitchell. Hit over 350 against southpaws and right-handers this year. He's just really capable as a sophomore at Western Illinois, being able to face up against almost anyone.
Yeah, no kidding. 5'10", 175, another smaller guy. As 1-1 pitch is going to be chopped over towards the YD dugout, and it'll be 1-2. Red Sox with 3 hits, no runs, and 2 errors. Mariners with 5 hits, 3 runs, and no errors. As that one cut on and missed. 4-pitch strikeout for Joe Savino. That will be his 3rd. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th.
It's a big out to get. Harwich trying to face its first pinch hitter of the season, and passes well for Nick Mitchell, who started the season with 6 multi-hit games. So that's just a big out there for Savino as he tries for his 10th strikeout here, or the 10th strikeout on Harwich pitching, I should say.
Mitch Voigt climbs in for the Red Sox. He's had a pretty good game to this point. He struck out back in the 2nd, singled in the 5th, and then made a leaping grab over at 3rd base earlier in the ball game. That was probably the best defensive play we've seen in the game. I guess you could throw Culpepper's bang-bang play over at 1st in there as well, but the leaping grab was really something to show off your athleticism if you're Voigt. That one bounced in the dirt to make it a 2-1 count.
Should be a straight switch with Evans starting in left field. Mitchell, a traditional outfielder at Western Illinois.
As that one going to be lined into right field for a base hit. Cutting it off is Scannell. He almost got crossed up, had to barehand it. As a nice 2-out piece of hitting by Voigt. His great day continues. And now John Pappas will climb in.
The catcher from Cal Poly Pomona, number 8, John Pappas.
The story of the game thus far has been the hitting just getting going for Yarmouth Dennis, and hitless through 4 innings against Sam Armstrong of Old Dominion. Now finding a little bit of continuity. 2 outs, huge chance to put one past the infield again.
First pitch is in there for a strike, and all 4 hits have been surrendered by Joe Savino. We saw Sam Armstrong go 4 full. He had 6 strikeouts and 2 walks without allowing a run. Savino's done his job and gotten the Mariners through innings, but the Red Sox have provided some threats. A threat brewing here as there's a runner on 1st with 2 out, but luckily, if you're a Mariner fan, it's the number 9 hitter in Pappas. As that one misses up high, and it'll be 1-2.
Starting to see the other side of this Yarmouth Dennis lineup. Started so strong and so disciplined at the plate, and now is at a different selling point.
As that one in the dirt, collected by Horning, he throws it down to 2nd, not in time as a slide in safely for Voigt, and now he's in scoring position. And with a 2-2 count, the Red Sox are threatening once again.
Red Sox reading the balls well in the dirt here tonight against Armstrong and even Savino in particular. If you're Savino right now, you need this strikeout.
Red Sox have left a handful in scoring position as that one off the edge of the plate, and it will be no swing, so says the first base umpire. And so count is worked full. On deck, top of the order, Nathan Archer. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Big pitch for Savino coming up. Here it is. That one is chopped back to Savino, but it went off the foot of Pappas. So says Fonseca. And so we'll do the payoff pitch again. Savino's had great control of his breaking ball all day. Let's see if he's going to try and tie the hitter up in Pappas or blow him away with the fastball. Here it is. Fastball, outer part of the plate, just off. And it'll be a walk issued by Savino. So now runners on first and second brings up the tying run for the top of the order in Nathan Archer.
You didn't have to look far to tell or get the sense of the urgency that Pappas was facing there. He was already running down to first as he knew that one was well outside, as it looks like we'll have a pitching change here for Joe Savino.
Joe Savino is going to be yanked as Engler walks out to the mound. Jacob Gomez warming in the pen for the Mariners, and we'll see if Engler makes the move. Believe it or not, Engler will just go out there sometimes and just talk it with his guys. Might not even make a move here. Looks like he's talking things over. Just one more out to get. And he has some serious confidence in his players, which sometimes is awesome and sometimes really hurts him. But we'll see if he goes to Gomez now, as everyone waiting to see what's going to happen with Joe Savino. Of course, with how reliable he's been, you can't blame Engler, as he's going to leave him right out there and trust him to get this last out and carry the last 6 outs on with someone else.
It's the right move by Engler in 2-out situations in the prior 2 frames, Devin. Savino getting the job done, and that's what you need here. Not facing more than 6 batters. Check that 5.
Pappas at first, Voit at second. And here's the first pitch to Archer. No, Savino thought about a pickoff attempt, but elects not to. One swing of the bat, and we could have a whole new ball game. The pitch is bounced in the dirt, and it'll be 1-0 to start off Archer.
You know, the approach and the sense of approach is there for Yarmouth Dennis. Being aware of the concern of not having a run on just 4 hits right now. After getting 2-out base hits, I should say, back in the 5th and the 6th, was unable to do anything with it. Another big test for Savino.
1-0. Misses inside to make it 2-0. Savino falling behind in this count could be detrimental. Hitter's count now for Archer, who is 1 for 3 on the day. Laced a single and was stranded at third. The pitch. That one's going to be lined over the head of Culpepper into left field. Coming around to score is going to be Voit. And the ball gets by Lavari at third, but did a nice job to knock it down. The runners will stay at first and second, and the YD faithful cheering for the first time in a long time here as they're on the board at 3-1.
It's a speed that you need out of the bottom third of your lineup, and Mitch Voit didn't come across to score back in the 5th. He was stranded out of scoring position as well, reaching with a 2-run single, as this will likely be the day for Joe Savino, as he seemed to at least be on a 1-batter leash.
It will indeed. So when we come back, it will be Gomez climbing to the hill. We look forward to it, and we'll see you on the other side. Quick pitching change here at White House. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back to White House Field. Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman along with you as let's take a look around the league real quick. Bourne and Brewster tied at 4 in the top of the 8th out in Brewster. That's a great game. Mariners leading the Red Sox 3-1, of course. Wareham on top of Falmouth 6-4 in the top of the 4th, and Orleans on top of Hyannis 2-1 in the top of the 6th. New pitcher is going to be Jacob Gomez out of Old Dominion. Wyatt, tell us a little about him.
Strong southpaw with a strong slider. First-year member here in Harwich, and he finished this season his third at Old Dominion with a 4.7 ERA. Just a 1-3 record in 44 innings, but he had 5 scoreless appearances.
Savino's line still open. He is responsible for Pappas and Archer, who are at second and first, respectively. The batter is Brady Day. He is 0 for 2 on the day, walked in the first inning, and he grounded out to the catcher and was the first strikeout victim of Savino. He chops this one over to Camarillo, who fires on to first, and that's out number 3. So not too many pitches it took for Gomez to get out of the jam, as he's all smiles, making his CCBL debut. We head now to the 7th inning stretch here at White House Field. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Stand up, stretch those legs. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Illinois, number 6, Nick Mitchell.
So Nick Mitchell will head to the outfield
Leading off the bottom of the 7th inning for
in
Harwich, the
place
second
of
baseman
Jimmy
from Cal State
Evans
Northridge, number 30.
out and
Ali
left.
Camarillo.
And so now it's Ali Camarillo. He's been busy today. Has a double. He's also punched out twice, but held down a really solid second base on defense. First pitch from Doktorzik. Misses outside. It's 1-0. Camarillo trying to get some late offense here as the Red Sox were able to strike and get one back here. They still have 6 outs to work with. This game not over by any means. Lights are on here in Harwich. They came on just about an hour ago, and fans wearing sweatshirts. Still not that warm time here on Cape Cod. Hovering around 60 degrees, and that shade makes it a lot cooler. As this pitch is going to be popped up straight to the catcher, and he's able to haul it in. Pappas, a nice play there. They throw it around the horn, and there's one away. Doktorzik has really been in a rhythm, Wyatt.
He's been in a rhythm, and you consider the strikeouts he's been able to provide thus far, having 3 strikeouts, and we mentioned earlier he had 4 of 5 retired, and now you look at 6 of his last 8 faced have been retired.
Culpepper on the day 0 for 2. He's lined out to the shortstop, been hit by a pitch, and he also struck out looking in his most recent at-bat. As he watches strike 1 grooved in there at the knees, he's behind in the count. 5 hits aside, but the Mariners leading in the ballgame, fueled by that big second inning. The 0-1 fouled back off and into the woods to make it 0-2.
Yeah, 3 straight retired here, and you wonder when Harwich pushes across a hit here, let alone another run, scoreless since the second. Have to look to Culpepper here, Kansas State product.
Breaking ball almost snapped in. Culpepper lucky to be alive, and he knew it as he sighs in relief. One away here, and Kennedy Jones on deck. Culpepper trying to get on in front of him. Here's the pitch. That one got a piece of him again, and on the tender part of the wrist, Culpepper in some pain. As we'll see what's going to happen here. Trainer Mandelusky out of the dugout, seeing if she needs to head down there, but Culpepper, a tough cookie. This is the second time he's been hit in the ball game, though.
Yeah, first time he got hit on the shoulder. This time it looked to be closer to the wrist.
And just an unfortunate sequence there. As you could see, Culpepper was about to get into his swinging motion, and honestly, that could be why the ball hit him. It's because his hands were loaded up and unfortunately just couldn't get out of the way in time, and he'll take his place down at first base. So a runner on for Kennedy Jones. He's had a tough day thus far. Struck out in the first, lined out to third base in his second at-bat. That was a really nice play we saw by Voigt over at third, and then he reached on an error on a not-so-great play by Voigt. So living and dying by hits to third base, it appears, for Kennedy Jones today. Culpepper on first. 3-1 our score, and one away. As this one's going to be grounded over to guess where? Third, but foul. And so it'll be 0-1. It's way ahead of Doc Torzik, who's really been bringing it. So credit to Jones for getting ahead of it.
Just great to see Culpepper okay over there at first. Definitely don't want to see any injuries. Still a certain sense of uncertainty around who you have for the first few weeks of the season.
That's a great point. As that one a pitch out, they're going to try and snap off Culpepper, and they almost got him. Really nice play by design, as some applause from the YD dugout. They almost were able to throw out Culpepper. Luckily, he was paying attention. So it's a ball and a strike now, as YD sacrifices the pitch to take a shot at the out. And the 1-1. Slider is able to catch middle away part of the plate, and it's 1-2.
Can't remember the last time I saw a pitch out in a collegiate game, to be honest with you, Devin.
Yeah,
when was the last time you saw it?
That's when I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, I don't know if I've seen that in a long, long time. For a snap off. That's only something I would do in a video game when I was like 13.
Yeah.
Not something you see. Even in the MLB, something you see maybe a team do 3 times throughout the 162-game season, if that.
And saw an intriguing bunt attempt earlier on in the middle innings as well.
And credit to Christian, he's been a wall over there. He's had to fall on the ground a few times to catch plays on pickoffs and keeping his team from giving up extra feet. He's really put together a good effort. It's ball and 2 strikes now to Kennedy Jones, the designated hitter. And here's the next pitch. Just misses the inside corner, and Jones stays alive.
And this guy averaged more than 5 strikeouts per outing at Nevada. He's really chasing the strikeout ball right now, as we mentioned a moment ago.
He's been fantastic for YD. We'll see what can happen now. As there goes Culpepper. That pitch fouled off, and Culpepper was about to run through that base. Holy cow, he was moving.
Extended hit and run?
Yeah, I guess so, but he looked like he was going to die. That could have been ugly, but that'll tire you out for sure. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jones trying to put something in play. He's got a huge hole over between first and second if he can get behind the baseball. As he pops this one up in a shallow right field, awkward angle for Christian, and he makes an uncomfortable grab, falling onto his knees, maybe in foul territory, and that will be an interesting second out, but the Red Sox will take it, and they need just 1 more to wrap up the 7th.
Well, perhaps maybe not the most gracious play to get the second out of the 7th, but you take outs as you get them. It's still a 2-run ball game, and we saw for Yarmouth Dennis to scratch across its first run of the game in the season, just going station to station. I'd kind of like to see Harwich implement that here and try and get some runners moving from one point to another.
Mariners have had one hit in their last 4 2/3 inning on offense. As this one's going to be lined into center field, but caught by Apodaca. That one was on a string, but right at the center fielder. And that is how the 7th inning will end. No runs, no hits, no errors, and they leave one. We head to the 8th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back into Harwich, Massachusetts. That sun going down and the sweatshirts going on as the fans are really starting to bundle up here. 6 more outs of baseball aside. As we're set to get going here, it will be 3-4-5 due up for the Red Sox. First pitch going to be fouled off by Jacob Christian. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Walked in the first inning, struck out in the 4th, and singled in the 6th inning. That one going to be in there, and quickly Gomez ahead 0-2. He is really looking locked in out there. 0-2 pitch is going to be rolled over the shortstop Culpepper. He grabs it on the short hop, fires on to first, and another really good stretch from Fitzgerald. It will be a very quick first out for Gomez. He seems really locked in and very comfortable out there. Granted, even though it's his debut, I should say.
Seems as if he's already been starting it short for a week already. He's just been all over the place, lipped the outfield grass, and that time, as you said, got a strong stretch.
That one in there for a strike to Hunter Hines, another guy who's had a tough day for the Red Sox. Pair of strikeouts and a ground out to second. See if he can get their offense going here as he chops this one over foul on the first base side, and it will quickly be 0-2. Gomez, all business out there on the mound, just bringing strikes, not even considering throwing a ball. 0-2. Just misses the outside corner, as if on cue the broadcaster's jinx goes into effect.
Key here is just to force the ground ball contact. He's got it twice.
1-2. Breaking ball just misses, fell off the table at the last second, and Hines very wise to lay off of that one. A pitcher's pitch right there from Gomez. 2-2 offering. That one is going to be popped up in a shallow left center field. Coming in is Humphrey and Wilson. Wilson, the one who brings it in. That will be out number 2 here. 2 up, 2 down here in the Red Sox 8th.
Strong start for the southpaw of Old Dominion, getting 3 straight retired. And you look at the RBI base knock from Nathan Archer. You figured he was due for a pair of hits at some point, Devin. And yeah, Harwich is bouncing back right now.
First pitch misses low and away. Apodaca, the hitter now, he is 0 for 3 as well. Struck out looking in the first, grounded out to the pitcher in the 4th, and then popped out to second back in the 6th inning. Count is evened up at 1-1. Try and get some more score updates for you as they happen. Horse point streak being a little behind here, as this one is going to be bounced over on one hop to Culpepper, and he fires a strike over to first. Oh my goodness, Kalen Culpepper with a cannon for an arm, and it'll be a 1-2-3 eighth for Gomez. Heading to the bottom, Sweet Caroline time here in Harwich. We'll see you on the other side on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Leading off the bottom of the 8th inning for Harwich, the right fielder from Princeton.
Welcome back. It'll be 6-7-8 for the Harwich Mariners. Matt Scannell climbing in. He's walked and scored, struck out, and flied out to left. We'll see what he can do here against Doktorzik, who's back out there for yet another inning of work. Doktorzik came in to start the 5th inning and has really settled in, not allowed a hit. Stranded 3 runners in the process, as he evens the count up at 1-1. Mariners, hopefully their last at bat if they want to try and get a win here. Red Sox just 3 outs away from failure to get in the win column. Early wins definitely help you out. Brewster has jumped in front of Bourne, 6-4 on the top of the 9th. So Bourne's last at bat to try and make something happen, as the 1-2 pitch misses upstairs. Wareham on top of Falmouth 10-5, and Orleans on top of Hyannis still 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Wareham games in the top of the 5th, excuse me. 2-2 pitch. That one cut on and missed. Down goes Scannell, and that will be yet another strikeout. Tally at number 4 for Doktorzik. And there's one away.
2-run ball game here for Harwich. I understand that you want to try and reach by the way of the hits, but of course you have to consider that Harwich only has 2 walks to this point in the game, Devin. Perhaps something to explore here.
Yeah, they have not been as patient as you would have liked them to be, and Doktorzik been able to find his rhythm and stay on the mound for that long because of it. 1-0 now to Horning, who doubled and scored back in the 2nd. He's also struck out and popped out to the shortstop in Max Vieira. 2 balls, no strikes, hitters count for the Skidmore product. The pitch. This one is going to be popped foul, backing out of play. And it'll be 2-1. Closing in on 8 o'clock here at White House. Of course, 5:30 first pitch. And this one could be wrapping up within the next 20. So that pitch clock definitely speeds the game up. We're used to games around 3 hours, maybe a little longer, and on pace to finish in under 2:45. 2 balls and 2 strikes as another one goes by Horning. Doktorzik rocks and delivers. That one on the inside corner misses to work the count full. And the great thing about Doktorzik is he's so hard to time for these hitters, because in his windup he'll hesitate and not go into his full motion. So the hitters have a tough time figuring out when to load, and it's really been throwing off their cadence. credit to him.
You talk about timing as well. 6 outs here for Doktorczyk in his first relief appearance have come off the bat. That's something that you want to be able to induce, but he's also balanced it so well with the effective number of strikeouts. It's just not easy to do on night number 1 of the Cape Cod season.
Payoff pitch. Breaking ball misses up high as Horning will reach base for the second time today and bring up Kenny Lavari, who's really had himself a game.
From Old Dominion, number 7.
Kenny singled back in the second, then he doubled in the fourth, and then walked in the sixth. He's been on base 3 times, looking to set his CCBL season high here tonight. As here comes the first pitch to yet another Old Dominion product. That one gets by the catcher, and down to second goes Jackson Horning on a wild pitch. Takes a big turn, thought about third, but not really a chance there.
Horning has such a strong athletic frame, Devin. You noticed how quickly he was out of the 3-4 hole, had a strong lead off of first, and now has a 1-out runner in scoring position. That's going to help Harwich down the stretch of the season, as it looks like Yarmouth Dennis will have a quick time to talk here.
Yeah, pitching coach headed out there for the Red Sox. Talk things over with Doktorczyk, who's been absolutely lights out to this point, and probably just given his reliever a little more time to get loose. YD's offense going to need to do something before they start worrying about how the pitching's been, because the pitching's been really good. Other than that one inning back in the second, it has been special. Fonseca headed to break it up, but pitching coach leaving the hill. And so here we go, back to it. Kenny Lavari will climb back in, a 1-0 count. Taking a big lead off of second is Horning. And the 1-0 pitch. Nope, they're going to try and take a look over at Horning at second, who's back in there standing. Just a scare tactic, and we'll do it again.
Have to keep taking what you're offered here. Just going from station to station, something that Yarmouth Dennis has done well. Harwich capitalizing off of a couple of early Red Sox mistakes.
That pitch misses outside to make it 2-0. 3-1 our score here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Harwich looking for some insurance before we head to the 9th inning. Searching for their first win in 2023. And the pitch. Right down the middle, and that'll be a strike. 5 hits aside, 2 errors for the Red Sox, none for the Mariners. It has been a game that has really picked up pace ever since the first 2 innings ended. As that one going to be another pickoff attempt over at Horning, who's back in there with a dive.
Game so close, Devin. Only 2 runs difference now for the past inning. Yet to really see a squeeze play or anything to try and add another run. We'll see what happens here.
And there is an out for the Mariners, so not sure they'll be that aggressive, especially with a guy in Kenny Lavari who's been swinging a hot bat, but who knows? He's ahead in the count 3-1, looking to be on base for his 4th time in the contest. Doktorczyk checks the runner, kicks and delivers. Up and away, he missed. And that will be a walk. We'll see if the Red Sox decide to make a move. In the meantime, it's going to be the 9-hitter Ryan Wilson climbing in.
Back-to-back walks here. Harwich with a 2-run lead. These are the kinds of plate appearances that certainly bring a strong sense of reflection when you're looking back at early season wins, how you got there. Harwich being a top-of-the-league home run team last year. But now you have 2-1 by the way of base on balls, forcing a little bit more pressure here on Doktorczyk, who has really dealt with that balance of strikeouts and ground ball contact as we discussed.
First pitch to Wilson, big swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Wilson reached on an error by the center fielder in Apodaca as it hit him in the glove on a running play. He couldn't haul it in. He's also struck out twice. No balls and a strike now as Doktorczyk trying to get out of this jam with no harm done. His team trails by 2. The pitch. Swing and a miss, and it'll be 0-2 quickly. Wilson behind. Jacob Humphrey awaits on deck. I would be surprised to see Doktorczyk stay in to face the top of the lineup. But we'll see what YD elects to do. Got to get through the 9-hitter and Wilson first. The pitch. That one going to be fought off towards the right, and we'll stay at 0-2.
You can tell that aside from the shift in approach here at the plate, a little bit more discipline being shown. Still aggressive through the zone, even as the 9-hitter in Wilson has yet to provide a hit here today.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch. That one might have got him. Yeah, it got him on the elbow, and he's in some serious pain. Wilson trying to shake it off, but probably stung him. It hit him in an awkward part of the arm, and he's in some serious pain. This wouldn't surprise me if it's the end of the day for Doktorczyk. Bases are all loaded up on 3 straight walks, 2 by base on balls, and 1 by hit by pitch.
From UMass Lowell, number 36, Jacob Humphrey.
Definitely a brutal time here for Doktorczyk, and this is going to be the day.
Scott Pickler making his way out to the hill, and we'll have a pitching change. When we come back, Mariners have the bases loaded, 1 away, looking for some insurance. Call to the bullpen for the Red Sox. We'll see you on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.
For the 2023 season, a locally owned family-operated business that provides all natural.
Call to the bullpen here. It'll be Blake Aita heading in on the mound for the YD Red Sox. He comes in from Kennesaw State, a native of Canton, Georgia, 6'4", 220, a big right-hander out there for the Sox, trying to get out of this bases-loaded one-out jam. And for Aita, he finished his first season at Kennesaw State 2-3, also had 3 saves in his 17 appearances, 6 shutout relief appearances with a 2.53 strikeout to walk ratio. We'll see what he's able to bring here. Kind of thrown into the Lion's Den, as the Mariners looking to strike for more and still with just 1 out.
He'll be apprehensive of the situation here. Someone who, as you mentioned, had 3 saves in 17 appearances at Kennesaw State. His last outing, Devin, he went scoreless without giving up any hits. 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Still a 3-run loss for Kennesaw State against Florida Gulf Coast, but an applaudable performance against a hard-hitting Eagles team, the A-Sun, for a particular time of the year.
As we have our first final of the 2023 season, the Brewster Whitecaps topped the Bourne Braves in a come-from-behind win 6-4. That game lasted 2 hours and 52 minutes. Of course, starting at 5, no lights at Stony Brook Field. First pitch is going to be shot foul off to the right. And it'll be 0-1 now to the top of the order, and Jacob Humphrey. Humphrey on the day, 0 for 4, flew out to center, grounded out to third, struck out, and flew out to left. He's got a chance to do some damage and pick up a few RBI. Mariners have not scored since inning number 2. The pitch. Snap throw down to third, gets away, and now the Mariners with a chance to do some damage. In to score easily now is Horning. Lavari down to third, Wilson to second. Everybody moves up a station, and the Mariners extend their lead to 4-1.
First unearned run here for Harwich on the evening, and that's a play that was offered a quite deal of risk down to third. Voigt, no way in reach he would have been able to actually make that play. Well out of reach that time, actually.
Pappas has been really aggressive beyond the plate. Not sure if that's Pickler's call or his own, but he has been trying to take someone off the corners, and unfortunately that time cost his team a run. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to Jacob Humphrey, looking to add to the lead, which is now 4-1. The pitch. That one gets away, and it'll be 2-2. And when you think about the 3 runners that were just on base, of course you had Horning just scored, Lavari is at third, and Wilson's at second. Those are the bottom 3 guys in the order for the Mariners who are stepping up to produce, and all of them got on with some sort of walk. So kind of tough for unforced mistakes by the YD Red Sox, and it's going to hurt them on the scoreboard. That one just gets away from Pappas. And it will be a full count now with 1 away.
Considering that Pappas, the right-handed battery mate behind home plate, Devin, just more of a risk to be trying for a gun down at third. A back pick, what at first probably would have given you a little bit more certainty with only 1 out on the board. Probably have a little bit of light there in 2 outs instead of a run coming across the score.
Full count now. And here comes the pitch. Foul tipped into the catcher's mitt. Really nice play by Pappas, and they're able to get another strikeout at the hands of Humphrey, his second of the day, and the first now for the new wing and Blake Aita.
Second baseman from Cal State Northridge, number 30.
One characteristic that Yarmouth Dennis pitching has had today, just being able to battle back out of deep counts. And that time it was a payoff pitch. Humphrey just a little bit behind.
So Ali Camarillo will climb on in. 2 down and 2 on, looking to add to some offense as first pitch in there on the outside corner for a strike. Camarillo doubled in the first, struck out in the second, struck out in the fourth, and popped up to the catcher in the 7th. He's got a chance for his 5th at-bat here. Mariners have done a great job of turning the lineup card over despite having just 5 hits, finding ways to get on, capitalizing on errors, and moving runners along while being patient. Umpire, not sure exactly what just happened. Umpire just took a time, and we'll just get back to baseball. The 0-1. Big breaking ball and a bigger swing by Camarillo. He couldn't catch up to it, though, and he's behind in the count 0-2. Firebirds cling to a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th out in Hyannis. See if they can pull that off. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Camarillo goes down swinging for the 3rd time today. Back-to-back strikeouts after entering the game by Aita. But The bad throw from Pappas that went into left field will allow the Mariners to get a run. As they leave 2 on, we head now to the 9th inning. It's winning time for the Mariners. We'll be right back on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.
You ready?
Welcome back as it'll be 6, 7, 8. Last life for the Red Sox. They trail 4-1 here in the 9th inning. Mariners searching for win number 1 in the 2023 season. Max Vieira will climb in. He's 0 for 3. And he'll ground this one down the line off the glove of Lavari and into left field. He'll easily round first and head into second. YD Red Sox have now out-hit the Mariners 6-5, if you can believe that. And so, the Red Sox in business here with nobody away in the 9th. Gomez back out there to the hill for the Mariners.
Great way to lead off with 3 chances left here in the 9th. You have to imagine that a hit-and-run opportunity comes to pass. We'll see what happens here.
So Gomez trying to secure his first save as a Harwich Mariner. He's going to have to go through Nick Mitchell, who's back in there. As there's one drop down and a blunder by the Mariners as Gomez and Lavari can't get on the same page, and it'll be a bunt single. What a play by Nick Mitchell that time to get himself over to first, and that brings the tying run up here with nobody away. Wow, this escalated quickly, Wyatt.
Southpaw and Gomez was just a bit slow off the mound, it being on his backside. And the third baseman in Lavari trying to be ambitious as possible to try and make the throw at first, what you're taught to do. Nonetheless, they're none away.
4-1 our score, but the tying run up in Mitch Voigt. And he is the hottest hitter in this Red Sox lineup. He's got a pair of singles, scored their only run of the game in the 7th inning after a single. Also struck you out back in the 2nd. Gomez really going to be put to the test as that one gets away from the catcher, and down to second goes Nick Mitchell. So now 2 runners in scoring position, the double play taken off the table, and now the Mariners really just need outs. They are in some trouble.
Of course, down 3 runs, you're running with 2 outs, but a certain luxury here with a chance to score the tying run, and if not, bring in 2 to bring it to a 1-run game.
As that pitch on the outside corner, a tough strike call to the dismay of Mitch Voigt. He didn't like it. He might have been right as well. That one really tough. So here comes the 1-2 pitch. That one just fought off. Really good hard fastball by Gomez. And staying alive is Voigt. It's still 1-2. On deck is John Pappas. Or excuse me, why do you have a pinch hitter brewing? More to come on that, as that one going to be grounded just foul over towards third base. Yeah, it looks like grabbing a bat is going to be Will King for Pappas, so we'll expect to see him do up next. Mitch Voigt Staring down Gomez. His pitch misses up and away, and the count is evened up at 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. And here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Going to have to make the throw down is Horning, and he gets it. Score that one K2-3. And it'll be another strikeout for Gomez. He's up to 2 now on the tally. Or excuse me. Yeah, 2, excuse me.
Strikeouts characterize the start of this game as Yarmouth Dennis remained hitless through its first 4 innings, but just probably the biggest strikeout that you get out of Gomez there. Someone who had a lot of strikeouts this season at Old Dominion. And he had 29 strikeouts against right-handers at Old Dominion this year as well. So something he was able to find a sense of transcendent success there.
So Will King will dig in, the pinch hitter for Pappas, who was 0 for 2 with a walk on the day. King from Eastern Kentucky, a native of New York City. Led Eastern Kentucky hitting .346 and had 21 multi-hit games, so a great bat. And we'll see if he's able to do something with it here. As he rips this one into left field for a base hit. In to score is Vieira. Following him is Mitchell. And just like that, it's a 1-run game off the bat of Will King. There's life for the Red Sox.
Leadoff base hit for Max Vieira, a double, and then a wild pitch allowing him to get to third. It's a huge turn of events here for Yarmouth Dennis that seemed completely hapless going into those first few innings without really many strikeouts, and its batters fell victim to 13 straight retired, and all of a sudden you have a chance to bring in another run here.
So some trouble brewing as this one's going to be whacked over to the left and foul. Tying run is on base for the Red Sox. Mariners just trying to put this one to bed, but it won't be without another 2 outs. Here comes the 0-1. Big swing and a miss. He wanted all of that, got none of it. And it'll be 0-2 now to Archer. Archer singled in each of his last 2 at-bats. He's also grounded out to the shortstop and struck out looking. 0-2 from Gomez. Did he go? Mickey Garcia says no, he did not. And, that is tough. He absolutely did, but Garcia in a really tough area in the middle of the infield with just the 3 umpires. So a tough, tough break that time. Sure did look like he went from here, Wyatt. As the 1-2. This one going to be chopped up the middle. Culpepper steps on second for one. On to first. Mariners win. Kalen Culpepper ices the cake, and the Mariners hold on and survive 4-3. A great 6-3 double play will conclude the game. Stick around. We'll have Mariners post-game coverage in just a moment. We'll be back on the other side of the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into Al Graber press box. Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman here as the Mariners hold on to win a nail-biter 4-3. Wyatt, an interesting game to say the least. The Mariners struck 3 times in the second inning and then were held with just 1 hit throughout the last 6 or so innings of the ball game, and they were able to get a run after a wild throw into the outfield by the catcher in Pappas, and that ended up being the game-winning run. So baseball, a game of who makes more mistakes sometimes, as the Red Sox were able to out-hit the Mariners 8-5, but those 3 errors they committed were really the difference maker here tonight.
Devin, old saying in baseball, it's really a game of inches. In this case, as you mentioned, it's a game of feet, with it being an E2 on that catcher in Pappas. And you look at what Harwich had already done to gain continuity out of its pitching staff. Joe Savino and Sam Armstrong combining for 13 batters retired. It seemed to be as if Yarmouth Dennis didn't really have an answer until you look at that 2-run double out of the 9th inning there, and then you look at it as a ball game again, and fortunately enough, Jacob Gomez just forcing enough ground ball contact. Kalen Culpepper 6-3 double play, and the Harwich Mariners inch away with a victory here on opening night.
Culpepper was fantastic. Despite being hit by 2 pitches in the game, he was able to lock down on defense and provide the game-winning out. Kenny Lavari also was the player of the game on offense for the Mariners. He singled, doubled, and walked twice, was on base 4 times, hitting in that 8 spot in the lineup. He was fantastic, but the win will go to Joe Savino. He becomes 1-0 on the year and is the first Mariners pitcher to win. The loss goes to Cal Steven, and the save goes to Jacob Gomez. So a really nice stretch there for the Mariners. They're able to hold on, but Wyatt, before we wrap this thing up, any final thoughts or a player of the game that you'd like to add before Orleans tomorrow?
I mean, you emphasize the impact of Caden Culpepper, but at the same time, Culpepper was the defensive anchor for Mariners. And, you know, you look at what you get out of Hunter Fitzgerald. He had that early double, came across the score on that 2-run double from Jackson Horning as well, and he came up with 1 of 2 straight walks in the 8th as well. So it's these particular plate appearances, these small momentum swings that will help the Mariners, provide them a little bit of stability in games like this, where you almost think that you don't have to go to a Jacob Gomez for a particular save. As you mentioned, him coming in, valuable southpaw on the mound, but you look at going 1 out at a time. That was the case for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox and the Harwich Mariners, as they really showed a sense of poise going down the stretch, despite the fact that the Mariners led 3-0 going into the 7th.
That will just about wrap things up here. The Mariners take on the Orleans Firebirds over at Eldridge Park at 5 o'clock tomorrow on Sunday. That game will actually be on NESN. So if you want to tune in and watch it from home, it'll be on NESN. And you can tune into our broadcast for the sound and just mute NESN. We'd be more than happy to accompany you as the Mariners look to stay undefeated against the Firebirds team, who's a couple outs from holding off the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. But once again, that will about do it. Final box score one last time. The Mariners 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors. The Red Sox 3 runs on 8 hits and 3 errors. And that is how we will leave you. So on behalf of our producer, Sean Sears, my partner, Wyatt Kopelman, and myself, Devin Dobeck, thank you so much for joining us on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And always remember to live the dream. We'll see you tomorrow night.